All right, welcome in. Cube Show Podcast, college football podcast coming to you on Mondays. We recap the SEC games. We watch the film of every team and let you know what we saw, how and why things went the way that they did. Appreciate you being with us this week. Obviously, Red River, going to go through that one. Auburn, Georgia. I know what y'all want me to talk about, but I'm not going to because we don't penalty vulture on this show. So it's not going to be a real thing of what we break down and what we talk about. We watch the film, not the TV copy and the Twitter highlights over and over and over and over and over again. Scary one for Ole Miss, scary one for Tennessee. Alabama maybe proves a point. We'll get to all of them right here on Cube Show. We're brought to you by Wickles Pickles. Wickedly delicious. Please support Wickles Pickles. If you see them in your grocery store, grab some. They're delicious. They're awesome. We love them. We snack on them at our house. My daughter loves them. I love them. We put them on burgers. We have them by themselves. If they don't have them in your grocery store, ask them why. And if you see something at a menu on a restaurant that has Wickles on them, order it and say that's why you want them, because they have Wickles Pickles on them. Go to WicklesPickles.com. You can have them drop shipped right to your door. Get the hat, the apron, the pickleball set, all of that right there at Wickles Pickles. Wickedly delicious. Thank you for being the sponsor of Cube Show. All right, let's get into it. We'll start with Ole Miss and Washington State. I said that was a little bit of a scary one. We're not going to spend a ton of time on this game. I'm not going to take any one thing from any team and definitively say that I think that's who they are or what they are. Was Ole Miss sleepwalking through this game a little bit? Yeah, I believe that they were. I thought Washington State had a good plan. I thought their kids played hard. Should have been able to hand the football off on every play and go win this game by 21. They weren't able to do that. The scariest part about it was the manner in which Washington State ran the football. It's 28 for 127, 4.5 per, but it was literally getting guys blocked. I mean, it was hat on a hat, double team combos up to linebackers, getting a little bit of movement every now and then, and guys finding space and being able to run the football. Do I think this is indicative or just makes Ole Miss this moving forward? No, I don't. But you don't like to see that with the defensive line that looked like it had been ahead of schedule and looked like it was proving people wrong after those departures last year and just wasn't going to be that anymore. So there were some quarterback rollouts, some quarterback option plays, some read plays where defenders got a little bit lost, specifically up the sideline. I thought a couple of Washington State receivers caught balls in traffic and just made plays. That's going to be the case. Trinidad Chambliss off just a little bit. A couple of those balls could have been caught. There are a couple drops in this game. A couple of times maybe he's a little bit behind a receiver, rushed to throw. I thought there was a couple of times he couldn't really step up in the pocket. One of those led to an interception. So, again, a little bit of a default game to who your opponent is, when it is, what's ahead. We get all that. We understand that. I thought the scheme was pretty vanilla, pretty bland. I did like the way they used Daquan Wright in this game. Where they're lining him up, how they're using him in formations, how he blocked in this game was also good. I continue to see Diego Pounds getting a little bit better over on the left side. So I think the Ole Miss offensive line is kind of finding something a little bit. They ran for 186. Kewan Lacey, again, fantastic. The yards after contact for him were just insane. And they're getting a little more duo going. So duo is an inside run, similar to inside zone. You're focused on your double teams at the point of attack. They're kind of starting to get that going from a downhill perspective. And if Ole Miss gets that going, that's going to help everything else on the perimeter because we know they're going to be good there. And then Daquan Wright, popping the ball to him over the middle of the field, get him out in the flat, him blocking. He is a weapon for that offense and how they operate and what they do. Caden Lee did some good things. Deuce Alexander had a couple nice grabs. They turned the football over. So, listen, you sleptwalk through an early kick at home against an opponent you thought you were going to smash, and it didn't go the way that you wanted it to. Moving on. Ole Miss will be fine. All right, Georgia and Auburn. Yeah, there's a lot to this one. I get it. I know. I understand. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it. The fumble, I saw angles in which I was convinced that he was across the line of scrimmage. I saw an angle that looked like the ball may have been moving before that happened. Did it appear like a bad call? Sure did. Yeah. Couple other things with the timeout. I think Kirby was trying to call a timeout. You can also clearly see the safety on the back end running towards the line of scrimmage clapping. So I think that was initially what he was trying to get their attention for. But either way, should Georgia have been issued a timeout? Yeah. Were they going to get the playoff? Probably not. I don't think that they were. I don't think any of that decided the game. Now, do I think that fumble deflated Auburn in the locker room to the point that where they struggled in the second half? Yeah, I think that had a lot to do with it. You heard Coach Freeze on that interview right before the half, and you're thinking to yourself, if that's going to be the message going into the locker room, that's what I expect to get in return from the players. And I kind of think that's what you got. I loved the plan early from Auburn. I'm going to show you two things from this game in what Auburn was doing well, how Georgia was playing it, and then how Georgia, I don't want to say adjusted, but decided to play things a little bit differently. I did think Georgia was in more 3 down early, so more Okie front, even though they had the edge defenders walked up on the line of scrimmage to give the appearance of 4 down. They played more 4 down or even front a little bit later in the game. So Auburn attacked the perimeter. Outside run. We saw them do this 2 years ago in Auburn. The way that they ran counter and they switched up the lead blockers a little bit and had them off balance is not too different here. You had tight ends involved, both as pullers and as play side players that would arc and pull defenders out. And that was kind of the whole goal here, is just get defenders running and then hit it a little bit north and south. This has worked before. It was working again, specifically in the first half of this game.
All right, so let's look how Georgia's going to play this here to the outside. You've got really an Okie front, so 3 down linemen, and then you got an edge defender out here that's walked up. So it's still 3 down. They're going to take this edge defender, and he's going to go run with the arcing tight end, who's going to arc outside right there. So he runs. What does that mean? That means that the linebacker, Raylan Wilson here, has to replace and come down. So you're asking your defenders to do a lot of different things. 99, obviously, is now, he's going to pinch inside right here, and it's going to allow Raylan Wilson to come back over the top. Well, look what you have coming from the Auburn offense here that's difficult to deal with. I'm going to start it, and then we'll pause it. So you have a puller coming around. You have a running back lead blocking, an arcing tight end. Then you have another puller tight end right here, and then the back's going to get the football. So just a lot of flow coming into the alley. With 28 leaving, 5 has to come down here and replace and has got contained, but the space created with all of that is where it becomes a little bit problematic. This one, obviously, quarterback's going to read. Well, keep in mind, he's usually reading that in man on the line of scrimmage. Well, this is an easy read right now because you have a replaced linebacker coming over the top. He's able to grind out a few yards. All right, so similar look here for the Georgia defense. Okie front, so center is covered up, and you have 2 other down linemen. The edge defender here is going to be walked up, but watch how he's going to crash down inside immediately. This is not a read. He's crashed in the mesh down inside, and that's going to force Cole, the linebacker, to have to come up over the top. So once again, we're exchanging defenders here, and responsibilities are automatic. It's not a read with anything that's going to potentially happen. So here we go with Auburn coming attacking off tackle just again. So let's look at the motion and what's happening here, as we talked about before. So arcing tight end going out, running back, lead blocker, block down, puller here, and then a back coming around. So a lot of flow here into the alley, but we have an automatic crash replace right here. That can cause confusion when so many different things are coming your way. So now you get a little bit further on the perimeter. Cole's not able to get out there in time. The running back can even pass him up, get an extra block, and then you got plenty of space with that tight end arcing out and being able to force the different things that you want to take place. So trying to force the issue early on, being aggressive on the edge, was the Georgia defense. Now we'll take a look at kind of how Georgia changed some things in the second half. So Georgia decided to get a little less aggressive out on the edges as the game went on. Now you see this is a little bit more of a traditional 4 down look. Even though it might not be exactly 4 down personnel, the way they're aligned is going to give you that feel, and that's how you're probably going to play it and how they're going to play it. So what I want you to watch here is 0 on this play, and he's going to play this in a very traditional manner. So read, play flat, and then come flat back down the line of scrimmage. So read that mesh point. So you can see him eyeballing the mesh right there, eyeball the mesh. When that quarterback keeps it, flash down inside. Bam, go back inside. So what that, number one, allows the linebacker to do is see ball, get ball, and attract ball football right away. Read, and it takes away the space somewhat that was created before right here of designated, all right, 1 down, 1 around, and not being able to keep up with this out that everything's are going. So a little less aggressive, a little bit more of a traditional manner, and this began to take some of those things away, where, in my opinion, some of the downhill run game needed to come back in for Auburn a little bit later once Georgia had a beat on how this was going to go.
I didn't see the downhill rushing attack, which should have come, not from a read perspective, because keep in mind, you saw that defensive end play that a little bit earlier. You needed to turn around and hand the football off and get north and south. Similar to what they did late in the Baylor game is how I would have attacked this at that point. Or if they're going to give you 7 in the box, even 6.5 in the box, you got to throw them out of it a little bit. And you got to make some of those throws. It's one thing that Jackson Arnold honestly didn't do. Everybody's talking about some of the throws down the field. I did think one of those he didn't have the capabilities to really step into. There was some pressure down around his feet. I'll subtract that one. But you got a crosser that you're throwing at your guy's back foot about 90 miles an hour. You got another ball down the field that you underthrow. The majority of the deep balls this season, the guys have made plays on, they've had to adjust and come back to it. I feel like his deep balls have been a little flat this year, and that's got to be coached out of him. Somebody's got to help him understand that balls need a little more air into them, pull your receivers out or in, allow them to go make a play. That hasn't been happening. He was good with his legs, 13 carries for 55 yards, had a rushing touchdown. I want to see more Jeremiah Cobb, honestly, because I feel like he takes the football and he gets to where he needs to be in a hurry, and he runs hard. He's just sort of sleek enough and squirmy enough to be able to fit through some tight creases near the line of scrimmage. I think he can sort of give you that. He can be that type of a running back. At the end of the day, though, this plan did not alter with what Georgia altered to and how they were playing them late in the game. And the cool thing for Georgia was they kind of made Okie look like four down. They kind of made four down look like Okie. They have those defenders that can kind of go back and forth and do some different things and show you different looks and confuse you to exactly what they are. Contavious Johnson was great, though. 33 off the edge. When he needed to get a pass rush, he did. He's sturdy against the run. When they asked him to just slant down inside and cause a problem, he was able to do that. I thought as the game went on, Jordan Hall, 44, did a nice job against the run, strike and shed. He was pretty good inside. And then those linebackers just running Raylan Wilson, C.J. Allen, both really fast to the football, attacked. And Georgia couldn't get much going in the first half. And I give credit to Auburn's defense. Xavier Atkins played fast. 17 was all over the place. I thought Robert Woodyard did a nice job coming down to the box making plays. He was physical inside. Bobby Jamison Travis, number 97, sturdy on the interior. Kieron Crawford was moving in and out. He kind of busted through and penetrated a little bit to cause some problems. I thought Auburn tackled well on the perimeter early on. Made plays outside. I thought Bobo did a good job trying to get him go east and west. Screen game, quick game early on, tried to make life easy for his quarterback, and they connected on some of that. But the misdirection, I thought, wasn't there enough for Georgia early on. I thought they could have given Auburn a little bit more of that. I thought Auburn could have given Georgia, outside of just some of the read stuff, there was never anything really going back the opposite direction, like no throwback, no reverse, like get some other stuff going the other way to try to freeze that defense and catch them a little bit. Not enough of that really from either team. But I thought the Auburn front seven played well. I thought they did enough to win the game. And yeah, some of the calls went against you. Yeah, some of the calls have gone against you the last couple of games. But when I start reading numbers like this, that in your last three games, you've had 0 points, 0 points, and 7 points in the second half, 88 yards, 40 yards, and 72 yards in the second half. And in the fourth quarter, you've had 62 yards, 29 yards, and 1 yard in the fourth quarter. You got to start talking about how you're altering things throughout the course of the game. What are you introducing, reintroducing? What are you changing from a blocking perspective, a formation perspective as the game goes on, once the one thing that you were having success with is adjusted to or figured out? And apparently that has not happened for Auburn in the last couple of games, and it's something that's going to have to happen moving forward if they're going to be able to make enough plays late in games to find ways to win games, because there are not a ton of obvious winnable games left on the schedule. There just aren't. Missouri's going to be a handful this weekend, and they got to get some things figured out. But I thought the Auburn offensive line did some good things, bodying guys up, getting a little bit of movement at times. I thought they played pretty physical. Dylan Wade in and out of the lineup. 77 did some nice things for that Auburn O-line. I thought Center had a pretty good game. But the reality was you went to attack the perimeter and then needed to go back inside late, and that didn't really happen. The usage of the tight end for Auburn I thought was fantastic. Like I talked about before, arcing him out on certain plays. Using him as a front side blocker, front side player, getting him out on routes. There was a little dump that Arnold had to the tight end, which was a nice play. I thought tight end up the seam would have been there a lot more if you wanted to utilize that, specifically with some of the flood routes that were coming around off those fakes. He could have been right up that seam and really challenged some things and made a couple of more plays. There were a lot of yards left on the field from Auburn. There were some yards left on the field for Georgia. Gives Gunnar Stockton kudos to him, 24, 37, 217. I don't think he had a lot of time to operate. Don't think he had a lot of space to make plays. Broke Auburn down with his legs a couple of times. I mean, both these quarterbacks were the team's leading rushers. And just not what you expect from this game traditionally. I didn't think the Georgia offensive line had a great game, but I saw Bobo do some good things. The big freshman did a couple of nice things. And at the end of the day, you find a way to go on the road and get the win. When it comes to the calls, like I'm not a penalty vulture. I don't do that. I don't think one call determines a game. I don't think there's any luck in football. And yeah, things go against you, but you got to find a way to overcome that. Like overcoming adversity is everything in football. You get beat sometimes. Guy beats you on a pass rush. You can't sit there and sulk about it and get beat on the next one. You drop a football, the next route that's thrown to you, you can't drop that one. Like go find a way to make a play. I mean, how about go get a first down in the second half. Go get more than a yard in the second half. Don't drop the ball at the goal line, which is something for some reason everybody's so scared to say. You want to blame the officials and talk about what it could have been, when it came out, what happened. Don't drop the ball. And we're not even having the conversation. And the game's probably over at that point because you're going to slam the nail shut in the coffin. And that couldn't take place. When you hear and see after the game the excuses of, need a break, woe is us, why happening to us, when is it going to be good for us? You got to go make your own stuff, man. Like you make your own luck. You create your own fortune in football. And Auburn just hadn't been doing enough of it. So I'm sorry some of y'all wanted me to focus on the officiating and be really mad at the officiating and tell you poor Auburn. But you guys that are doing that, you're falling right into the trap. The trap of excuses and the trap of making other people have the blame and pushing the blame off from what the actual execution is from the football team, specifically the offense. And that's where the majority of the blame needs to go. You can have it both ways and still say, yeah, that call sucked. That call went against us. That call hurt momentum. At the end of the day, the execution or lack thereof is what needs to be on the forefront of people's minds as to what's to blame for not winning football games. Because I don't give a damn about how many calls or what calls or when calls. Did you win or did you lose? Those are the questions that need to be asked, in my opinion, after a game. Did your guys play hard or did they not? Did they give great effort? Do they care? If they give a shit, then we got something going for us and we can make that work and we'll figure out a way. If they're giving a shit and you're not figuring it out, go figure out a way to figure it out. That's all I got on it. And I know it's not what y'all want, and I know people are dying to hear me get mad at the officials. I don't penalty vulture, so I'm not going to start doing it now. Hey, all right, guys, don't forget about my friends at Game Day Men's Health. It's easy. All you do is go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com today. Sign up for the free consultation, free PSA test, free testosterone test. When you do that, they're going to tell you where your baseline health is, and then if it's weight loss, they've got that they can help you with. If it's testosterone replacement, if it's peptides, they got all that. If you have brain fog, if you lack energy, if you're not getting sleep, Game Day Men's Health can help you, and they want to help you. So go check them out. They're open now in Trustville at GameDayMen'sHealth.com and tell them you heard about them here on Tube Show. A&M over Florida, 34-17. I thought Florida got off to a really nice start offensively. The problem here was you aren't going to be able to trade touchdowns with A&M for an entire game. That's not your reality. That's not who you are. Let's rewind to the Texas game and how this thing went the way that it went. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, play action, bootleg, quick throw, misdirection, run the ball, shot play. That's who you are. And all of a sudden, after A&M scores a couple of touchdowns and this thing looks like it's not just going to be, oh, we can't really keep up, then Florida begins to press, then you turn into a drop-back team, and guess what? Cassius Howell and company are going to tee off, and they're going to make your life hell. And that's what the A&M defense did. I thought the plan was fine early on, but from a score perspective and the way the game flow was going, you didn't really have a lot of options there, and then you had to just kind of move into that 2-minute mode, drop-back mode, and that's not where Florida's going to win. Left tackle really struggled for Florida. The pass rush for A&M was exceptional, and I thought you're looking at multiple guys that were able to cause a problem. I mean, even inside, I mentioned Cassius Howell. He was great, but Albert Regis inside was really good. TJ Searcy was able to get some pressure. And the linebackers like Tarn York, when he's coming in there making plays. Damian Sanford had a hell of a game for the A&M defense. Those linebackers can run, they're physical. Here's another thing that I love. I can't remember if I mentioned this last week after talking to Elko. I saw it 3 more times in this game. Linebacker with a free run at the quarterback. They run with their hands up and do not leave their feet until they get to the quarterback. Like, it sounds so simple. It looks so easy. Why does no one else do it? Watch football this coming up weekend. NFL, college, high school, and tell me how many guys you see running at a quarterback, a free run at the quarterback about to throw, and they sprint with their hands up until they get to the quarterback. Because I can show you 15 other plays from the weekend where the quarterback doesn't even give a full fake and the guy's off his feet and he's around him. I mean, hell, watch Diego Pavia this weekend and he'll probably make it happen 5 times in one game. It's just the discipline that I think the A&M defense really plays with. They tackled well on the perimeter. That's a tough physical back in Jaden Ball that got outside and got past the line of scrimmage a couple of times, and they didn't let him maximize yards after contact. And he is really good at it. He didn't do a ton of it in this game. I thought the A&M defense even calmed down from what they were being asked to do as the game went on and just teed off in a four-man pass rush. They didn't have to give you the creepers. They didn't get to have you the simulated blitzes. They didn't bring extra bodies. It was just like, okay, we got you where we want you. We are about to light you up just going 4 straight up out of the gate. See if you can block us. Florida couldn't block them. I mean, at the end of the day, they couldn't block them. And it was a solid rushing performance for A&M as well. Mario Craver big through the air. Conception nice through the air. But the run game got going. Hated to see the injury, and it looks like now it's going to be a while for Ruben Owens. But either way, 42 for 183, 3 rushing touchdowns for A&M. Florida rushes 24 times for 74 yards. Was there some space for it? Maybe. Could it have gotten going? Possibly. The game flow dictated their inability to even stick with it and be stubborn with it. That's the way this game went. The A&M offensive line got a good push. Marcel Reed had a pretty clean pocket, and you didn't even really have to begin to cut him loose once again until you wanted to. So they're picking their spots and choosing when Marcel Reed's going to be a running quarterback. And as I told you last week, Elko and Colin Klein sat there and told us, we want him to be a pocket passer. We know the run stuff is there. They'll bust that out when they need it. They're not going to try to make a living on it because you got a traditional run game to lean on, big physical offensive line. The tight ends do a great job helping out with it, and you got a defense that can tee off. So 2-4 for Florida, 6-0 for A&M. Going to be interesting to see where the Gators go next because I don't know where the mentality of that football team is right now. We'll see when we get there. Oklahoma and Texas. Okay, so a couple of things happen in this game that we have talked about often. 23-6, Texas gets the win. They get to 4-2. Oklahoma's 5-1. John Mateer plays, but he didn't look like the John Mateer that we've seen most of this season. Didn't look as fast, didn't look as twitchy, and damn sure didn't look as comfortable as the game went on. I thought he saw the pressure a little bit early. I thought the eyes came down a little bit early. And after Texas decided to go kind of all out on him in the first few possessions, I kind of don't blame him. But the reality for Oklahoma is there is nothing to offset his game. There is no traditional rushing attack to lean on. There is no offensive line to offer up great protection a lot of the time. There's no back that can take the load off. Like, it's John Mateer right now. And he's awesome. And he's great. Deion Burks is great. But there's only so much those guys can do when your quarterback can't operate the entire offense. And the entire offense is not at his disposal right now. Texas front, really good. Colin Simmons, really good off the edge. But I'm going to give the bigger shout out to those interior defensive linemen for Texas because I thought they caused problems. I thought they were really good inside. Even Ethan Burke on the edge doing some good things in there. But you saw multiple D linemen for Texas on the interior of that defense get a push, be problematic, and that's the group that a lot of people kind of wondered. Like Hero Kanu, I thought was really good inside. I thought he did some really nice things. Big 99 was good inside. They're the ones that kind of forced, and because they played a little bit of a lighter box at time, and Oklahoma still couldn't get the run going. I loved the Texas plan on offense. Stubborn with the run, get a hat on a hat, and let's let our backs sort of make their hay. So didn't have longer developing plays, had some quick hitters, so they run duo a lot earlier. You heard us talking about a play earlier. Texas wants to go downhill right away. So you get a hat on a hat, and then what Quintravious Weiser did an excellent job of was pressing the line of scrimmage, making his cuts late. And by doing that, those Oklahoma backers are aggressive, man. It's like they fly up to the ball. Well, now he bounces outside, and there's nobody home. I'm going to show you something right now of one of those plays, an example of it, how it went the way that went. Couple things to focus on here for the Texas offense and the Oklahoma defense. The play is duo, so you got double teams trying to work a double there, maybe here, depending. You want to get a push, you're going to stick on those, and the back's going to come downhill. Weiser does a great job pressing the line of scrimmage and then a late bounce outside. That's a lot of what makes this play go because these Oklahoma linebackers are super aggressive and they play up quickly. The difference here is you watch this Oklahoma defense. What have they been great at all season? Twists. Run twists, movements up front. We've seen this the entire year with these guys looping around one another, doing different things, being problematic. This is where they played static. I'm telling you, like the entire game. I'm wondering why that went away. Watch the late cut from Wisner.
Bam, no movement from the Oklahoma offensive or defensive line. And that right there is what the Texas skill players have not been doing so far this season. And that is making people miss in the open field. They allowed UTEP to have the best individual tackling performance that I've seen all season. We already talked about that. But the key takeaway here is Texas offensive line, they got a hat on a hat. They did a pretty good job up front with that offensive line. Most important part, though, the Oklahoma defensive line not moving near as much as they had up to this point. And then also the Texas skill players making plays, making guys miss.
And this is my biggest question for what Oklahoma did and was in this game. Where was the movement? I need to know, because you've lived and you've died on that this entire season. Why would you get away from it now? Maybe, and I would probably not push back on this, you saw that Texas offensive line and how putrid they had been in a few games this year and said, we can just line up, play read, and we'll tee off, we'll strike and shed, or we'll penetrate around and we'll be fine. They won't be able to block us. I would have probably thought that too. And there were a couple of plays where nobody blocked anybody. And there were a couple of plays where our Mason Thomas got into the backfield. There are a couple of plays when David Stone got into the backfield. I thought multiple defenders played great for Oklahoma. I thought Jaden Jackson had a nice game. I mentioned our Mason Thomas, he had a good game. Colby McKenzie had a really good game. David Stone was good up front. A lot of guys played really well. However, with what they were asked to do, they couldn't be as disruptive as they were before. Keep in mind, the Texas zone scheme, when they would run the ball to the outside, and a lot of times, there's a couple of times you saw the edge defender for Oklahoma squeeze, lose contain. It is a very flat zone scheme that Texas runs. So it allows you to sort of feel things out, see where everything's going, and then hat on a hat, the back can get outside and make a cut. Two things happened in this game. The offensive line did get a hat on a hat most times, and the running backs and receivers made plays. I get it. That sounds kind of crazy. But you've also heard me on this show almost every week say, when are the Texas skill guys going to make someone miss? Give me a stiff arm. Give me a juke. Give me a spin. Don't let teams like UTEP tackle you one-on-one the entire game. That had been happening to this team almost weekly. And all of a sudden, Quintravious Wisner, about by himself, completely negated all of that. He gets out in open field. He makes guys miss. He catches the ball in the flat. He makes 5 guys miss. That was the difference. Because a lot of those plays that went for 10, 25, 35 yards, those were 2-yard gains 2 weeks ago. Those were 6-yard gains 5 weeks ago. It's just the reality of what it was. It was a good plan by Sark, using the tight ends to widen the surface a little bit, not allowing Oklahoma to jam as much inside as they normally have been, and giving you the ability to get the edges. And the last thing is, the quarterback operated the offense well. And everybody wants to poop on this guy, and everybody wants to tell this guy how bad he is. Arch Manning operated the offense. Was he under pressure some? Yes, he was. That offensive line pass protect great? No, they did not. But he checked the ball down to the running back. He threw the ball into the stands. He definitively left the pocket and ran when he needed to. There wasn't a lot of second guessing. There wasn't a lot of running in circles and doing 360s trying to figure something out. He tucked the ball and he ran. He threw the ball into the stands. He checked the ball down to the back. And he made a couple of good throws. He was great on third down later in the game. And then you saw the one quarterback run where, again, is pretty much a bare front, almost like a 50 defense. The edge defender comes flying down. Arch Manning pulls it, gets outside. No movement inside from Oklahoma again. And then he gets outside, and what a heady play to be able to slide there, go ahead and milk the clock. But Michael Taft was good for the defense. Anthony Hill Jr. was good for that defense. Lee Fowler's been active and played great for this Texas defense really the entire year. And I thought the pressure they added early kind of got Mateer off his game and really was in his head as the game went on. And just something that you look at and say, that wasn't the real John Mateer. You could tell he hadn't practiced, you could tell he hadn't been out there, and you could tell he needed reps. But for everybody saying, well, why didn't you just bench him and you lose the game, the committee's not going to be mad at you. The committee's not going to be mad at him now. Because the committee also knows he wasn't 100%. He gutted it out. He went out there and played. I give all the credit in the world to John Mateer for going out there and playing in this game. Guys, this is the Red River Rivalry. It's a Red River shootout. This is OU Texas. You get a chance to play in that game, and now all of a sudden we're going to come out of nowhere and we're going to tell this kid that he shouldn't have played when all we ever do is beg these guys to go out and play and tough it out and get out there and rub some dirt on it. He went out there and played, and I give him credit for it. No, he wasn't close to 100%, but he wanted to play in that game. He wanted to win that game, and he went out there and gave it his best, man. It wasn't him, and you could tell. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets back to himself quickly for Oklahoma as the season progresses. All right, guys, don't forget about Roback. I'm sporting my Roback tonight for Read and React. I'm trying to see where that logo was, right there. If you can get it in there, maybe, no, yes, a little bit. Roback logo, there it is. Roback's got women's stuff coming out now, like a whole bunch of women's stuff coming out, like workout gear. It's really cool stuff. You're going to want to go have the lady in your life maybe check that out. If you need a gift for a birthday or Christmas coming up, Roback women's apparel is going to be really cool. The team apparel is in. This little ditty right here that I wear is kind of like a little bit, like dressed it up a little bit, but it's super comfy and cozy. And you can go get this in multicolors at roback.com. Use promo code COLE20, COLE20 at roback.com. And you got hats, pants, shorts, dress shorts, workout shorts, hoodies, thick hoodies, lighter hoodies, quarter zips, polos for the game. My boy Derek Panamsky was out there rocking his LSU polo on the field before the game in Baton Rouge. I see a lot of Roback floating around the games now because all the SEC gear is there. They have your team. They have your stuff. So go get it. Some really cool designs on some of those as well. The Auburn stuff's really cool. The one with the mini Jordan Hare stadiums, I got that one. It's pretty sweet. Go check out roback.com today and get into their gear. Tennessee survives Arkansas. And this is another one really good plan from the Hogs. So I'm going to show you a couple of things that happened here from a Tennessee perspective defensively. I thought they got a little aggressive in a couple of different ways. They weren't great in zone coverage in this game. That caused a couple of problems. Taylon Green, scramble drill, a problem. Taylon Green running, a little bit of a problem. The traditional run game was an issue, though. So Taylon Green hits you on a couple of runs, and you overcommit to the edge. So here is Tennessee overcommitting to the edge. And what does that open up? Your traditional run game, you're going to give it to the back. He's going to get north and south. He's going to be able to create yards. This is not hard to figure out why Arkansas was able to run the football. Number one, they got two freaking hammers at tailback, man. Braylon Russell can get it, and Mike Washington can both get it. And they get downhill, and they are not afraid to bring the thump. The offensive line looked better, man. Like they got hat on a hat. This is what the offensive line did. They strained, specifically on the inside runs. And when I say strain, I know some folks might not really get that. Basically what that is just effort continuing a block, like continuing to try to block through a play. And you might not know what that means if you're backside, front side, but just staying with your block, even if he's got you beat initially, that little extra push, that little extra ride can allow a back to break that tackle and get another 6 yards, 16 yards, 26 yards. And the Arkansas offensive line did do that. They were not great in protection. You had multiple Tennessee defenders that were able to get home. I thought 15 had a nice game. I thought your usual cast of characters out on the edge did some good things. Joshua Josephs was good in pass rush situations. Tyree West, 42, did some good things. Sidney Walton, 26 off the edge, or did some nice things. So there are some new faces that are beginning to show up in a pass rush perspective for Tennessee. But the interior guys got out of their gaps a little bit. Sometimes when asked to move, would flow a little bit too hard, completely out of their gaps. And when Arkansas was either running zone scheme or blocking down, they would take them right out of not only their gap, but into another gap. And that was problematic trying to stop the run. So a couple of things that kind of took place there. I do think that offensively, Deshaun Bishop ran the ball extremely well. Speaking of like riding blocks and pressing the line of scrimmage, he does that extremely well. The MVP of this game was Miles Kitselman, and I don't really think it was close. Like Braylon Staley had a nice game catching the ball. Deshaun Bishop, great day running the ball. Miles Kitselman was awesome. Inserts, out on the edge, out in space, blocking for screens, catching the football. I mean, the guy had 5 for 56 and a touchdown and was outstanding as a blocker in this game. Aguilar, solid. Couple balls sailed on him a little bit. I think he was kind of trying to press a little bit and make some things happen that maybe weren't there. But I thought he played a solid game. Didn't really have an issue with what he did or how he looked. And the defense has just got to be better at staying home and got to be better at understanding how to fit the run. They were a little over-aggressive at times. Pad level, got shoulders turned a little bit up front. But also I think, too, it was dictated to them by Taylon Green and Bobby Petrino as to how to play them. And then when they would alter that, Arkansas took advantage of it. So it was really a good plan by the Razorbacks to be able to find that running space and be able to get things going. Plus, you got, like I said, a couple hammers at running back, a couple playmakers in the backfield, and they made Tennessee pay. But you get the win. That's what matters. 34-31, Tennessee gets to 5-1. Arkansas goes to 2-4. Hogs going to be a little bit of a problem down the stretch now. I promise you that. All right, guys, don't forget about pizza pulls. If you're trying to get back into the hobby, go to Fanatics Live right there, and then you're going to go up to your search tab, and you're going to find pizza pulls. So we're going to get out of that. We're going to go right there, and we're going to go to pizza, and then you're going to see shops, and you got all the things that pizza pulls can do for you right there, all the different cards that they can get into. Oh, we got right here. We got a little Panini Black Basketball, first off the line. They were getting into there, checking some of that little basketball out. Get going there, get some little flame emojis right there. If you got basketball, if you got football, I'm doing Insta Rips now on Wednesdays along with some of the football breaks. You can get in on that if you want to. We pulled a Paul Skeens 1-of-1. I'm meeting Paul Skeens this weekend too. It's pretty cool. From my boy Jeremy. We've done really well with the Insta Rips, pulled some heat. We pulled a Jalen Hurts rookie auto red prism out of 25, I think. It was like a $900 card on Insta Rips the other day. You can get in with us. Wednesdays, go to pizzapulls.com. I'll be in there doing some Insta Rips or some football breaks. College football into this month. College football into this month. Bowman U coming out. It's going to be big. We'll have a lot of it. We're going to break it. We're going to rip it. Get in there with us at Pizza Pulls on Fanatics Live. Go to pizzapulls.com or find them there. Also at Pizza Pulls right here on Twitter and Instagram at Pizza Pulls Live. Check them out and get back into the hobby. By the way, shout out to my boy Jacob Hester. He comes up to me on the field. He goes, yo, I heard you're into the O-line cards. He gives me like a stack of top loaders with all these offensive linemen, like Creed Humphrey and Talisi Fugasa and a couple other guys. I was like, man, dude, this is like the nicest thing everybody's ever done for me. It's the hobby, man. That's what it does for you. It brings out the good in some people. But Jacob Hester, I appreciate you, man. All right, Alabama gets Missouri 27-24. This is a great game. And don't let this one be clouded by thinking, one, well, it's Missouri. Alabama got the win, no big deal. No, this is a really nice win. Similar to Vanderbilt. It's a really good win for the Crimson Tide. Let them get their credit for that because they deserve it. Also, Missouri proved a lot. They proved that physically, Alabama wasn't going to come in and overpower them, that they can hang, and prove that when maybe your best player doesn't have his best day, you can still be dangerous. I felt like Ahmad Hardy missed a couple of seams. I thought there was some stuff in the run game that maybe he cut a little too early or tried to do too much with, wasn't quite patient enough, got going downhill a little bit too quickly, could have made some more yards and didn't. Bo Prabula just struggled downfield. And you give some of the Alabama defenders credit for that. Like they were able to apply some pressure, able to get in his face, make him uncomfortable. But he showed that in just a drop back passing game, he still has some improvement to make. The intermediate stuff, I didn't really think was there either. Now, also, possessions were limited for both of these teams because, like, this game was moving. And so this wasn't going to be a track meet just because the way that the game flow was, it wasn't going to allow that to be. I didn't think the Missouri offensive line had their best day. I thought Brett Norfleet at tight end was really good. He helped seal the edge on the first run, and then he catches the first touchdown pass. I would have liked to have seen them target him a little bit more because I think that he can help you in that way, but he helped block in other instances also. But you got there, run 28 times, 163 yards, 61 of those by Prabula, who led your team in rushing. You probably needed a little bit more than that. And that didn't allow for some of the shot plays set up by play action to happen for Mizzou, and Alabama played it pretty good on the back end. I thought Jam Miller was great when he was in, hated seeing him go out, and Ty Simpson super efficient. Both of these teams made some silly mistakes to be able to allow their opponent to stay in, like a busted coverage on third down, a penalty on a third down that didn't convert, or a fourth down that didn't convert, and now you're going to give them another shot at it. Like, those things can't happen. But like the 4th and 8 that Simpson throws on the corner route, like, you can't really be mad at anybody on that. It's just a hell of a throw. It's a great throw. Maybe the throw of the year for Ty Simpson. Ty Simpson is throwing the ball to spots, and his timing and anticipation is right on point. Like, he's playing great football. He's the best quarterback in the SEC right now. And not all of his weapons are even going the way that you would think that they would or they need to. He got good reps from the tight end position. Cuevas was great helping out with some of the chips, doing some different things there. I thought, here's one thing that I like that Grubb is doing right now with Alabama. They're using the whole field. And when I say the whole field, I don't just mean like sideline to sideline and line of scrimmage to end zone. I mean, they're using all the players on the field. You can say, oh, yeah, Proctor runs the ball and catches the ball. That's cool. It's fun. It's great. Yay. But running backs are running the ball, catching the ball. Ty Simpson has read plays, RPO plays, option routes, and he can manipulate all of that. So they'll ask him to tuck the ball and run on a designed run. He'll have a read play where he'll keep the ball and run, a bootleg where he can tuck it and run. They got play action where he actually turns his back to the defense and can shoot the ball down the field. Like, he's under center, he's in gun, they're in pistol. They're doing everything. Motions, shifts, formations, tempo. Like, there's so much at his disposal right now. It's one of the main reasons he's flourishing. He's got talent, he's got ability, but because of what he is allowed to do and capable of doing, that's why he's so good. And that's where I think you see a lot of these other quarterbacks with big arms and speed and everything, like, they can't get past their second progression, or all they can check to is slide protection, which I got about 8 teams on the board that got smoked by slide protection this week. Missouri got beat by it. Bama got beat by it. South Carolina put on a clinic of how to get smoked in slide protection. LSU got beat on it one time. Texas got beat on it. Oklahoma got beat on it. Auburn got beat on it. Like, we want to keep going and allowing our guys to be robots and don't play football and just go this way, go that way. These D coordinators are smart. They're figuring it out. Occupy guys, create space, attack from the backside. You'll get to the quarterback. It's working for them, but nobody wants to adjust and have their guys that actually use professional pass sets. I thought the Alabama offensive line, when they needed them, stepped up. Right tackle had a rough day in pass protection. But also, like, these Missouri edge defenders, do not sleep on these dudes, man. Like, they can rip, absolutely rip. Like, Zion Young had a good day. Damon Wilson had a great day. Langdon Kitchen had a nice day. Obviously, I mean, you had a couple of penalties on that side of the ball, but you saw how they attacked the football. Like, Josiah Trotter, he plays downhill. Khalil Jacobs plays downhill. This defense can run. They love to hit. I thought for the most part they tackled well. Like, yeah, they got beaten coverage a couple of times. The secondary was going to be the problem. We knew that going in. We said it going in. And Alabama just found a way to make a few more plays late. The turnovers were critical for Mizzou. Can't have those. Just can't. And their foundation of their entire football team just never really got going. And that's a stretch play. It just never really got going. And when that happens, you're going to have a tough time winning. All right, I was in Baton Rouge, South Carolina at LSU. Stars were out, man. Saw my guy Theo Vaughn again. Great conversation with him before the game. Really funny what he said when he came up to me, which I'm not going to repeat. Livy Dunn, Paul Skeens was there. Paul Skeens, like, nicest guy ever. Signed a couple balls for my kids, and, like, just super nice guy. Jamarcus Russell was there. Leonard Fournette was there. I mean, it was a cool night inside Tiger Stadium, and not really cool as far as the execution of the offenses. LSU had some real breakdowns in protection. That offensive line continues to struggle, and it's a good front you're playing now. And Dylan Stewart was good against the run early, so he kind of shut that down. But they ended up finding some one-on-ones with Trey Green, the big, tall tight end. I asked him after the game, are you a tight end? Are you a receiver? He's like, I'm a tight end. That's what he wants to be. And I think he's smart because he knows that's where he's going to make some money one day. The rush game came on a little bit later for LSU. Like, they kind of, I saw some flatbacks, guys coming off the ball and getting a little bit of movement. Now, they're never going to live and die with it. They've proven that. They're not going to just commit to it. It's not who they are. It's not what they do. I don't love that, but that's where they are. I do think they need some balance to help Garrett Nussmeier, though, because he took some hits in this game, and that can't keep happening. It just can't. It cannot keep happening. But he's also tough. He has had the abdominal injury. He told us he did it in preseason camp. He battled through it. It needed time. The bye week gave him that. His velocity has now stayed the same to where it wasn't doing that earlier in the year. So, yeah, I think you'll see a different Garrett Nussmeier moving forward. He's got the weapons on the perimeter. The O-line's just got to pick it up, man. And the defense is great. Like, the defense is really good. We know what Whit Weeks is. He played great. A.J. Halsey is such a good football player. Like, he made a couple of plays. I love how they use Perkins in this game. Like, you line him up right over center, let him kind of spy. You pressure him from different spots, outside, inside. He's off the ball. He's in coverage. Like, just let him be a football player. Ask him to do different things and, like, find the ball. I thought Pyburn did some good things well off the edge. He was in the backfield a little bit. And some of the interior guys, like I saw Bernard Gooden make some plays. Jacobian Guillory showed up really well late in this game. Like, he was a problem inside. Big 90 made multiple things happen. when they were on defense. So that defense is going to keep them in every game. It's just a matter of how much balance can the offense find. They didn't even up the formations a lot in this game, like once or twice early. One of them worked, and then it's like you don't see it again. So, I mean, I don't know where they want to go with it, but they can be scary because he can make throws and his receivers can make plays. That's really kind of what it is. But I did think some of those guys up front for South Carolina, Goodwine, I mentioned Dylan Stewart, he was really good. They got back into the backfield and caused some problems, but their numbers are so low. Like Brian Thomas was back there a little bit, making some things happen off the edge. Their numbers are so low on defense, almost beginning to feel like South Carolina's going to have a lead going in the fourth quarter of games if they're going to be able to hold on to them. Because their D tackles have played way too many snaps, and you can tell they're starting to get worn down in games. They had a bunch of injuries in this game. You had a D tackle banged up. You had a center banged up. You had a guard banged up. Like you had a DB banged up. Like they're walking wounded right now, and not a good place to be where they are from a depth perspective. Offensively, it's like you got a couple runs that go, and then you just completely get away from it. It's almost the LSU syndrome just a little bit. I did like the involvement of Sellers in the run game, and that's going to have to be there because the threat of him, it's like what we talked about with Taylor Green against Tennessee earlier. The threat of that being there is what's going to help open everything else up. The offensive line is just not good enough. And they fired Lonnie Teasley today, their offensive line coach, so they'll go in a different direction there. But you got two others on staff right now, so you should be good. It's probably a good thing to have Sean Elliott on staff. And you just don't commit to it, which I don't understand because Rashul Faison can run. And Matt Fuller can run. Like, those guys are good. You find ways to get them going. Then you let your quarterback run the football just a little bit. But, I mean, golly, man. Like, they couldn't protect. I've got this number. So we have a stat service called telemetry, and it gives us all different kind of stats, like all different kind of things. And I had our guys look this one up, and I found it because Lenore Seller's stat line for the game was 19 yards on 22 attempts. According to telemetry or Teamworks, his total distance traveled during this game was 894 yards. And Roman and I were joking about this before the show tonight, and I'm like, I bet that dude ran for 250. And he's like, what? And I'm like total distance he ran. 894? The guy was doing work, man. He had to get away from a lot of things. The receivers didn't have a lot of chances to make plays. There wasn't really time to. It's unfortunate because they got a lot of talent on that team. They're just young and they're banged up, but don't rule them out. 3-3. They can right the ship to a certain extent, find some things, maybe get that thing going just a little bit. But that was kind of an ugly game. A lot of mistakes, some ugly penalties. LSU turns it over twice going in to score. Like it was not clean football for a long time. And then all of a sudden, it looked like it was going to start heading in the right direction a little bit more so for LSU than for South Carolina. But they had their chances. Like, once again, I'm not going to sit here and talk about penalties, but it looked like the fake punt was going to convert. It looked like the official backed off, and, they're not able to get it. It's tough. Those are the breaks. You got to find a way to work around that. Go make something happen. Go make a play. All right, coming up this week, quick preview. Mizzou and Auburn. I'm interested to see this Auburn defense against Ahmad Hardy in the stretch play and see if they can cause similar problems to what Alabama did. I think they can. Because of the different looks Durkin gives you, it's going to be really easy for a penetrator to come through or them to spike that run and some different things happen that kind of throws it off track. I think it's going to have to be a Prebula game if they're going to win it. I really do. LSU Vandy. First time since ESPN has been tracking this, I think first time this century, that Vanderbilt has been favored to beat a ranked team. I don't know, Roman and I were talking about this, and he was super surprised. And I'm like, well, what other Vandy team did you think would be favored against a ranked team? Like, what was it, like Jordan Rogers' 09 team? Like, which one? So no, I'm not super surprised, but it is. That's been a long time. This is a style of fight game. If LSU gets up, it's going to be a problem because Vandy has to read defenders in this game. And if they can kind of force LSU to continue to play them where the read is clear, then they'll find yards. If LSU is able to mix it and match it and continue to make it difficult, and Diego Pavia gives you a couple of those expletive moments and they don't go his way, LSU can get that game. Oklahoma, South Carolina is kind of like a desperation game for both. Got to have it. Oklahoma for the playoffs. South Carolina sort of salvage their team. I don't think that Arkansas can do the things in the run game to A&M that they just did to Tennessee, because I love how this front seven is playing for A&M right now. I just don't. Ole Miss, Georgia. This used to be where Georgia could punch you in the face, Ole Miss, and you couldn't withstand it. Now I think that's a little bit different. But this will be one, I think, that comes down to the Ole Miss defense. Can they get to Gunnar Stockton? Can they neutralize the run? And if so, I think Ole Miss will get some yards. I'm not saying they're going to get 500, but they'll move the ball a little bit. With what they do, motioning and shifting Daquan right around formationally with a mobile quarterback, they'll find some yards, and they got some mismatches on the outside. That's going to be more about the Ole Miss defense, I think, and what they can do to Gunnar Stockton and company. Mississippi State and Florida. Again, where's Florida right now, mentally and emotionally? I think that's the only real question in this game. Like, that's it. That's all. I mean, Mississippi State will get the downhill runs going. They're going to take their shots. Florida's going to try to run the stretch play. With the way that Mississippi State flies to the football, watch out for misdirection from Florida here. That could be dangerous. Texas, Kentucky going to try to punch them in the face. Texas proved last week they're becoming a little more adept at playing that style game. Stay within your similar plan here, Texas. Don't venture off from it and try to become a Ferrari again. Stay with what got you the Oklahoma win, and you'll be fine in Lexington. Tennessee, Alabama is going to be a good one, man. I think that's going to be a really good game because Tennessee is now ready to punch back. Physically, they can stand up to Alabama. There was a while they couldn't do that. They can do that now. Are they going to be disciplined on defense with everything that Grubb has at his disposal? Are you going to be home? Are you going to bust coverages? Are you going to lose contain? Are you going to get out of your run fits? If they do those things again, they're a little bit sloppy in that department, Alabama's going to win the game. They play straight up on defense, play physical and active on defense the right way where they need to be, Tennessee can absolutely get that game. So I think we got some good ones coming up this weekend. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. Please subscribe if you haven't. I appreciate the commentary. I appreciate you guys tuning into the show. Love all you guys. Thank you so much, and we'll be back next week.